All right, and we are live. Hopefully the fan's not too loud. It got crazy hot in here. Had to reset some stuff on my air conditioner. You guys let me know if the fan's too loud. But let's get this rolling, get some more water in, get my radio voice going. See if we get a pretty good turnout. But a reminder, guys, I'm not going to put up with any nonsense or trolling in here. I'm going to be polite. I expect the same in return. I'm going to please request that if you see me remove someone, don't say anything. Just run with it. Just keep asking your questions. And I don't want to disrupt the flow of the chat. Right? We don't want to disrupt that. We want to keep this informative and don't reward nonsense by commenting on it. Okay? And I think that's perfectly reasonable. And again, you guys be respectful to me and I will be respectful to you back. I'm going to be polite with people. Which is what I've been doing, and you guys know what nonsense is. You guys understand that. Don't say anything in the stream that you wouldn't say to a man's face who deadlifts over 600 pounds, or that you would say at your work if you were worried about getting fired or written up. I mean, it's very simple, guys. Be respectful. And I will do the same in return. All right, got a couple people in commenting. Let's get some questions and topics going. I just uploaded another guitar clip, by the way. But people kept asking. For some reason, people thought I quit playing because I went like 4 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever, without uploading anything. I've been playing every day. I'm going to keep getting better. It's going to take me a while to get what I consider good. I'm still not even where I was at high school yet, But given time, I'll get better than when I was back then. Just need time, practice. But I'm loving doing it. That's the beauty of it, That's something that one of the reasons I put that stuff up is to show people that when you're in the learning process of something, it's okay to put yourself out there, right? It's okay to put yourself out there. You don't need to be embarrassed, that we're all learning things. And the funny thing, I've had multiple people chime in and say, I inspired them to start playing the guitar again or to pick up the guitar. Just like I've inspired a lot of people to lift. And to me, I think that's a wonderful thing, that we can encourage other people when we have an audience to do positive things with their life that bring joy to their life, such as working out and training, making music, things like that, right? Hey, Jason, longtime watcher, wanted to ask, what has kept you going pursuing excellence in life, whether it's lifting or now talking about music? Because we have to. I believe that, I believe that we are meant to achieve excellence. I don't think people are meant for mediocrity. Okay. I think that if you have made it to this point in human history and evolution, you come from thousands and thousands and thousands of winners. Everybody on earth, you're like the top 1% that's left, that survived all of these things through human history. Like, what we have left on earth is excellence. Anyone who wasn't, those genes died out thousands and thousands of years ago, right? Every one of us come from hundreds and hundreds of generations of winners. Okay? You were born to be excellent. Every one of you. So that's my motivation for that. Okay? That's my motivation, and I believe that. I believe everybody is capable of achieving excellence, and that we should pursue excellence in various aspects of our lives. Hey, Jason, see you've got a Strat and a Les Paul. Consider getting a Tele. I'd consider a Telecaster. No. I got rid of the Les Paul. So I took it back within a few days, and I traded it in for an upgrade. So I took that Les Paul because I got it at Guitar Center's Guitarathon. So I had it within a full refund policy. So I took it in and just refunded it towards an upgrade, and I bought that second strap, right? But I got a good deal. I got a really good deal because they were running sales. So I think even with taxes and everything, I paid $1,700 for American Professional too, right? I do like Tellys. I consider them, but man, I really like Strats. It's like if I get another guitar, it's probably going to be another Strat. I'm leaning towards another American Professional eventually, like but with a maple neck and maybe just like a solid color. I don't know if I want red or yellow or black. I don't know. If you start taking growth hormone, do you pretty much have to stay on for life? Or no, growth hormone doesn't shut you down the same way. Hello, Jason. I would love to hear your opinion on about combination of doing strength training plus other sports. No, I program for this all the time. I program for this all the time. I have athletes in other sports. I have fighters, all sorts of stuff. We program around it, but that is part of your job as a strength coach. Now, can the strength suffer a little? Of course it can. You can still get good. I know you don't believe in sublingual administration of orals. Yep, you're right. But if someone suffers from a gastro, no, then don't do orals. It's very, very simple. Does a guitar count as a tax refund? Obviously. Alex, have you seen me upload it on all my platforms? The shorts and reels? Yes. Are they monetized? That is absolutely a tax deduction. Both of those guitars are tax deductions. Perfectly legal. I've already run it by my accountant. Do you eventually give guitar lessons to clients who ask, why would you think that? Why would you think I'm giving guitar lessons? That doesn't make sense. Melatonin helps me fall asleep, but it seems to consistently give me nightmares. Do you think having intense nightmares, if you don't wake you up, affects sleep quality? Maybe, dude, I have a crazy intention. Have you not seen my social media posts about melatonin? I've made multiple social media posts about it. The dreams are vivid. It's melatonin for me. It's like literally every night fighting zombie Terminator cyborgs riding on velociraptors, hordes of them with laser axe hands and minigun hands and all sorts of stuff. And usually you end up waking up when a giant zombie great white flies out of the horde, lands on you, and you fall down a cliff wrestling it on the way down. Usually you wake up right before you hit the bottom. That's standard dream on melatonin. That's like your normal average, right? You serious? I know the gym equipment was, yeah, dude. You got to be clever with your bookkeeping. Okay. Is 8 sets enough for muscle growth? Yes. Recently started doing Pendlay rows, and my calves are growing like crazy. Okay. I said, woo you, gamer. But why would you think that? And it's nothing personal. It just seems like a really strange question to me. Like I've never expressed an interest in giving guitar lessons, and I'm still in the learning process again. It's not something I have even considered or even on the agenda, right? Not even something I've even considered. And I see no reason to even consider it. When you program clients on barbells, you usually do 5 sets for 8 to 12. No, I do a lot of threes. I very rarely have anyone do 4 to 6, stuff like that. It's back. It's back stuff. It's upper back stuff. It's usually 10 plus. But some of my people do 3 sets. Sometimes, we add 2 movements in, right? I don't have usually advanced lifters do 5 sets on barbell rows that often. I'll throw a second row in to get that much volume. Do handstand push-ups on a wall have carryover? I don't know. I wouldn't bother with those personally. I don't see the point. Have you ever played Guitar Hero? Nope. Black Wax says, hello. Well, hello to you too. Eddie Hall claims it takes 10 full days to recover from a deadlift session. Seems oddly precise and arbitrary. It's oddly precise and arbitrary. I see no reason to think that that's how it works in any way. Jason, have you ever thought about convening a roundtable of strength coaches to dispel and debunk common myths in online fitness? Maybe do a live stream. I'm actually doing more collab work with various coaches already. You've seen some on Facebook, and I just put up one yesterday here. Thank you for the donation, Casing. He says, would you consider RDL great to strengthen lower back? I think it's a good exercise for that. I personally put it more into the hamstring category, but it is certainly a good low back exercise. Do you agree, Wendler, that leg press, good mornings, rows are enough to build a 500-pound deadlift? Yeah. I think that's reasonable. Sorry, just you're making progress on the guitar. Well, I appreciate that, but keep in mind, I've never taught guitar lessons to anyone. I have no idea how to even teach guitar to other people. It's not my wheelhouse. I'm a coach already, and I charge a lot for coaching. Like, I wouldn't want to take away from coaching to go do guitar lessons when I couldn't make the same money. And there are people who specialize in being guitar teachers. It just, seems kind of silly. How many sets of deadlifts per workout do I like? Well, Michael, that depends. You got to look at the different programming. That is not a straightforward question. Somewhere between 1 set and 20 sets, depending on what you're doing with speed work. I've done 20 singles for dynamic work. I generally do 1 set, though, these days. Thoughts on RDLs versus good morning, mostly relevant for very strong people in order to avoid fatigue. I think GMs are a more versatile exercise. I like RDLs. By the way, this one comes up very frequently. Magnus, your question is a common one I get in live streams. So I'm going to be very concise because I keep answering this one over and over. I like RDLs. I think they're a good exercise. So I want to say that full stop. I think good mornings are more versatile. They bring more utility to the table. All right. What is best for glutes, deadlifts or squats? I think you should be doing both. I think you should both be doing some sort of squat movement and hinge pattern movements for glutes. I just joined the local YMCA to start lifting for this first time. Excellent. Stick it out. Stick it out for life. Been a while. We talk about how the muscle gain aspect of increasing strength might need a calorie surplus, but does a calorie surplus help the neurological aspect at all? Yeah, it can, because it's still, you need recovery overall. So possibly. Can you build big legs without squats and deads in your opinion? Yes. Jason, thoughts on arm wrestling and arm wrestling specific training for strength gains? Have you ever been tempted to grip up and try your hand at arm wrestling? I have never been tempted to try arm wrestling. Nope. Jason just saw your Zac Efron video. Didn't realize you follow his work. I don't follow his work. I like movies. Alex, I like movies. I think most people like movies, right? I'm not interested in him or his work per se, but I like watching movies. Absolutely. I love movies. I love going to the theater. I like chilling and watching movies on my TV. So yes, I like movies. Is that an American or a Japanese Strat? The more budget one is the Mexican Strat. That one's in America. So the Maple Neck is the Player Series, and the Rosewood Neck is an American Professional too. Thoughts on hamstring versus quad theory by Coach Eric Bonner? I've never heard of Aaron Bonner, so I can't answer your question. Can someone get big and strong doing your old school progression, take your 5 rep max work? Is it more optimal doing? I would recommend conjugate. That old school method was just something I gave you guys as a template a long time ago. There's nothing wrong with it, but I think conjugate would do better for you. Do you think the Kabuki Cadillac bar is a worthwhile specialty bar to invest in? I've had clients who had it who liked it. I think it very, very much depends on your budget and if you're going to use it or not. I think it's a fantastic bar. Right? I think it's a fantastic bar. I'll endorse the bar. Should belt placement on deadlift be any different from squats? I find it hard bending over and bracing with a belt on. Yeah, some people need it up higher. What do you think about seal rows? Michael, I've done tons of seal rows on camera, and you've seen clients, multiple of my clients do them in client vlogs. Therefore, it would stand to reason that I like seal rows. Clint Eastwood or John Wayne? I like Clint Eastwood more. The Simpsons or South Park? I'm not into cartoons, honestly. I liked South Park more years ago, but I haven't watched South Park in forever. I did like the original, like the first few seasons for sure, though. Those are like some classics. Coach, do you think it's going too far confronting someone that doesn't re-rack their weights if you don't work at the gym? Yeah, you don't need to police that. Now, someone squatting, like curling in the squat rack when people need it, that's different because they're interfering with other people's workouts by using equipment incorrectly. People not re-racking weights, no, I don't think you should confront them personally. I think you need to bring it up to gym management, let them handle it. It's not your job. You're creating a potential confrontation that doesn't need to exist. And it really isn't your place, you know. Hey, Coach, do your boxing fighting clients run conjugate on 4 days a week? If not, all right, I got to scroll down. It's getting scrolled up too much. Some of them do 4, some of them do 3. Coach, could you still recommend sets of heavy triples to get cotton diesel strong, and Jack, or should be doing higher reps in general? You should be doing heavy work and high reps, both. Any advice for cutting while working a stressful corporate job, 50, 60 hours a week? If you're going to cut while working those sort of hours, minimize your training volume, keep your deficit very, very small. Can you attempt intro to crazy train on the guitar? John, I did know how to play that back in high school because I learned out of the guitar magazines. And it came out in several issues of them, the tab in it when I was, a teenager. So I did know how to play some of Crazy Train. However, I don't play metal right now. I'm not interested in metal. I'm doing almost entirely blues and then like rock that is blues based. Like if you notice today, I knocked out some ZZ Top. The clip before that, I did Eric Clapton. Coach, can you recommend some exercises for rotator cuff health? Yes, rows, bench press. I would assume you like John Wayne more because he hits more American persona. I like Clint Eastwood movies better. Right? When is the last time you pulled sumo? I haven't pulled sumo since right before that charity event. I know last time I pulled sumo was around 570, I think. It's been almost 2 years. Have you ever gotten into a fight in the gym? No. Has your Meniere's been managed well? I used to follow you a lot in 2014, but I'm getting back into fitness now. I've managed my Meniere's very, very well. I've managed it very well. I obviously wasn't always able to do that. It was completely debilitating at one point in my life to the point where I was fully disabled from it. And I mean 100% medical disabled. I have managed to control it and manage it extremely well at this point in my life. Hey, Jason, is the ice cream novice program good for building muscle, or is it just to build strength? Novices can't separate size and strength. Therefore, the answer is both. It can maximize both for a novice. Is it better gym etiquette to strip barbells completely after you're down on them, or to just leave a 45 plate? No, you need to strip them down. What's your opinion of going heavy on 45-degree back extensions like Pete Rubish recommends? I mean, how heavy? Heavy is relative. I don't think you should be doing really low reps on them. Probably not. Stick to good mornings for that. But if you can do 10 reps with a really, really heavy weight, then yeah. Happy to see your amazing strength and muscle recovery recently, or muscle growth recently. Look forward to seeing you hit 405. Do wider pull-ups work side delts or delts in the entire back, just like pen lay rows? They don't work the upper back as much, honestly. So as far as the delts and upper traps and stuff, they're not going to hit those as hard as rows. They hit the lats as hard as rows, though. They hit biceps harder. Do you still have any clients on 531? No, not any. If advanced lifter goes on a cut where any gains are hard to make, is he better off just trying to maintain strength without pushing it, or should he still try to progress? He needs to just try to maintain what he has. Coach, ever since I started to do more cardio conditioning work, I've noticed that I've become more vascular and leader at the same weight. Have you noticed the same thing? Sometimes. Do you think John Hack could have the highest bone density in the world? Well, I don't know that, but it's got to be up there. He's got to be in the top 10th of a percentile for sure. Are you still hearing impaired? Yes, obviously. Have you ever heard a client who outlifted you and thought they knew better than you and tried to argue with you what they prescribe, and how do you exert authority? Ratlow, the clients who act like they know more than me lift way less than me every single time. I have never once had a client who tried to argue with me about anything who deadlifted even close to 600 pounds, ever. My clients who are stronger than me follow instructions extremely well as a general rule. What are your thoughts on Smith machine and why most bodybuilders use them? Because bodybuilders are fucking stupid, oftentimes. That's why. Sorry, that's kind of mean. I don't like Smith machines. Everybody knows I hate Smith machines. I think they're pieces of crap that should be melted down for scrap iron, and that they lock people into bizarre and natural movement patterns, and I think they're hard on your joints. I don't understand why any person would ever use one for any purpose. My opinion. I can't come up with a valid reason. And I know coaches who like them. I can't come up with a reason to ever use one. And I've tried, because I like to be creative. Oh, wait, you can do inverted rows on them. You lock it into position so it can't move. You can do inverted rows. You can also use them as a pull-up bar. My shoulders are beaten up from college football. Was the best way to place the bar on my back when squatting. I would look into a safety squat bar. More and more research and anecdotal evidence keep coming out that volume needed to maintain muscle be even lower than we assumed, even 3 to 4 hard sets a week. Has that been your experience? Yes. What's the duration you recommend a novice to go with that awesome program until changed you more? I don't understand your question. I'm sorry, brother. Opinion on just using straps on deadlift max rep work. I can't hook grip and I'm worried about tearing biceps using mixed grip. Well, okay, if you don't like mixed grip, it's one thing, but worrying about tearing a bicep is really not a valid reason if you're intelligent in your training, your programming, your technique, and you don't have overuse. Okay, learn to deadlift correctly. Be careful of your drug stacks. Okay, and it's not saying anyone on gear is at risk. I said be careful of your drug stacks. Don't use steroid and drug combinations that make it easier to tear tendons. Problem solved. Learn to lock your elbows when you pull. Pull the slack out of the bar. Don't create overuse injuries. There you go. Can someone get enough bicep and tricep work from multi-joint exercises alone? It depends on the person. All right. What do you think you could get Liver King squat? I don't really care about Liver King. Are natty power lifters at risk of pec tears on the bench? Anyone can have an overuse injury, right? Anyone can create an overuse injury with enough volume on any exercise. I don't care what the exercise is. So the answer is yes. Thanks for all the lifting advice over the years. In the process of building my own home gym, best advice. Let's get rid of. All right. What's the best for strength boost come meet time, super drill, halo test, and cheat drops? That's subject to a great amount of debate. You missed my question. You're still partially deaf. Yes, obviously. So theoretically, does it actually, sorry to your question, I don't know as far as which of those is going to be the best at meet time. I usually tell people super drill if they want something for it, if they need an edge. I personally have never used any of those for a meet, but they all work. Okay, these are getting a little buried. Some of you will need to re-ask your question. Sorry, I missed a bunch of you people. Do you recommend any deadlift tutorials on YouTube? So many I feel give the wrong advice. I have deadlift tutorials. I fell asleep in my office chair and pinched my radial nerve palsy, and it results in wrist drop. Have you ever dealt with this, or do you have any advice? Seeing a neurologist? I have no experience with that. I'm sorry. Yeah, definitely see your neurologist. Is the incline bench press the best way? No. To improve both bench press and overhead press, if you only have to recover to do one of them, is the best bridge between the two lifts in terms of carryover. Now, for that, probably, yeah. But I wouldn't skip flat bench. Like if you could only do one chest press, it needs to be flat bench. But I think as far as carryover to both, the incline works well for that. It's always weaker people who self-proclaim to be evidence-based, who like to argue with people who are significantly stronger because based on their logic stronger doesn't mean more knowledgeable. That's a whole nuanced, complicated topic. There are a lot of people who are evidence-based who still don't know what they're talking about. What is your opinion on preacher curls these days? You mean bicep snappers? I believe that the preacher curl was invented by a person who hates biceps for the sole purpose of tearing people's biceps because he hates the bicep muscle so much and wanted to get rid of them. That's the only logical reason I can think of why someone invented that device, just biomechanically speaking, for the purpose of rupturing bicep tendons. That is its intended purpose. How many clients have you had that you know personally that were, none of them that I know of are former trolls, but a lot of them found my channel because of the trolling stuff that's out there. I've had at least 4 clients who discovered me that way, came to my channel to make fun of me, realized I knew what I was talking about, and later have hired me. So I've had 4 people admit that to me over the years. How much should a novice follow the ice cream fitness program until he is an early intermediate? Probably 6 months or so. Around my lower back when I go heavy, I can do the correct form with the lighter form, so it must be a muscle weakness. What muscles causes this? Probably hamstrings. So theoretically, does that mean if one is content with their muscle mass and they get enough protein and rest, they could coast and go to the gym twice a week for an hour and maintain muscle for years? Yes. What's the fastest way to rebuild a 409 no belt deadlift from scratch, low volume squatter achieved before adding 5 pounds every week and didn't stall until 500? I don't know if there's a fastest way to rebuild. You need to build your primary movers and then practice some deadlifting. Is thoracic rounding for an experienced deadlifter a conscious cue or something that happens on its own? It's sometimes consciously done because they don't have strong enough hamstrings to do the lift they want to do. And that may be a genetic limit. They may have their hamstrings about as big as they can get them. Okay. Do I have a strength imbalance if my deadlift is well over 500, but my bench is hardly 300? Not necessarily. Enjoyed your video on Zach Efron's physique from Iron Claw. Thank you. Rows build biceps better than curls? No, probably not. Not what the evidence would suggest. If I get really swole, will I get chicks? Probably not. How did you rupture your biceps? Preacher curls? No, it was deadlifts. Overuse. Jason, I have been deadlifting for 3 years, and 1 month I've been doing double overhand deadlift with no straps, no hook or mixed grip. You're never going to get your deadlift big and strong doing that. Hey, Ratco, you're about to be gone, brother. I'm going to give you one warning. Don't respond to the trolls. I'm going to remove your post. So were you or not special forces? I was never in the military. What are you talking about? Clyde, if a person was never in the military, how could they be special forces? Because you have to be in the military to get accepted to special forces, correct? So if a person has never joined the military, then you know they can't possibly have ever been special forces. It's very, very straightforward. And I have always said, even when I was doing that trolling stuff that I apologized for from over 8 years ago, I even said back then I was never in the military. So just an FYI. So that should clear it up for you. Does calf hypertrophy matter at all for strength? No, probably not. What compounds are most risky in terms multi-joint, not compound? Of tendon injuries, I remember you saying you were on Winstrol when you tore. Yeah, I was on Winstrol when I tore the bicep, but I was also on Tren back then. Tren is an injury causer, big time. What are your thoughts on starting strength? I think it's good for noobs. I think the book is a mandatory read. I know we aren't interested in physique here, but that aside, big beefy hamstrings are underrated in terms of looking jacked. Yeah, well, not in bodybuilding. They're judged very, very strictly in bodybuilding. They expect you to have hamstrings for that. Is twisting your arms with your fist in a bowl of rice the greatest forearm builder, or some people claim it is? That seems kind of ridiculous. Opinion on the trendy new triple drop try superset. I've never heard of that, but it's going to not be very good for hypertrophy. I mean, you could up the dose of your drugs and make it work, though. So it's probably, whoever's promoting it's probably just using a lot more drugs and then using that as their gimmick to sell it. This is why I made those gains, not because I doubled my trim. I'm doing this triple, quadruple drop set, and that's why I gained this extra muscle while losing 1% body fat. See how that works? Buy my program. Okay. Can you develop a really big back with chin-ups and deadlifts only? I think rows really help. How's the guitar going, man? It's awesome to see. It's going good. I put up another clip today. Could you give me a simple diet to follow and get really gnarly lean? Yes. Chicken, broccoli, rice. Eat a small calorie deficit. Done. Magnus, you definitely don't want to try to stay Superdrol for as long as Anadrol. Superdrol is a very short burst. Yeah, you don't stay on it long, like a week or two. I'm 180 pounds and did pull-ups with adding 45 or 14 reps. Is that impressive? That's pretty good. Radco, one of my clients even told me that. The guy has made no effort whatsoever to contact me, so he is probably trolling. Right? I mean, you guys can tell him I said that. He's obviously trolling because he's not contacted me. So I don't think he's serious at all. I don't really know who he is, but people have told me this. And nothing in my inbox. So I don't think he's actually serious. All right. What's your opinion on supersets? For opposing muscle groups, are great. For the same muscle groups, I think they're silly. And that's what the research shows. Thoughts on megadose vitamin C from supplements, such as you can't absorb that. Which compounds have you seen evidence for raising collagen synthesis? Evidence at this point? Number one, I'm going to say growth hormone. I thought there's been some stuff for DECA on it, actually. I've seen some data. Growth hormone's way up there. There's your number one. And we live in a different era. It's not like growth hormones is expensive or hard to source anymore. It's just not. It's not like it was 10 years ago. My psoriasis has been acting up this summer. What topical ointments do you take to manage your skin? Dude, yeah, it's a problem. Let's get rid of this guy. I personally use hydrocortisone for my psoriasis and sometimes coconut oil. Client Demi checking in. What's up, coach? What's up, Demi? Yeah, I recognize the name there. Are there any useful tips from going to a 315 to a 4-point deadlift? Dude, that's seriously, that doesn't require any special programming to get to I'm assuming you're a male. Doesn't take special programming. Just build your glutes, hamstrings, and your grip strength. You're good. You can get to a 405. It's on any basic strength program. What advice would you have for someone who wanted to come across successful but is, let's see. How much NAC do you take? 600 milligrams. Will Katong Alley race? No. Do you miss any foods from the UK? We have all the foods in the UK and Texas that are good. I mean, the same stuff. I mean, okay, some of the Indian, yeah, you can't really get the Indian food. I'll admit that. It's not the same. Yeah. Because again, when you get, it's the difference between authentic versus like here in Texas, you can get authentic Mexican food. You go into a lot of other places in America, it's not authentic. So it's kind of the same. Like the Indian food there is different than here. So I do miss that a little bit. Do you use peptides anymore? Just HGH? Do you prefer NAC over Tutica? I've never used Tutica. Should you superset legs with arms? No, you should not superset squats with anything ever. Do you think drinking whole milk is beneficial for gains? In theory, but it's a lot of fat. If you can get your calories from carbs, it would be better to get your calories from carbs than from fat if you had to pick between them for gaining muscle. Does a moderate amount of sunbathing affect gym performance? I have no idea. Does drinking beer bring gains? Drinking beer is bad for you. I saw data showing boron lowers SHBG, raises free test pretty significantly. I don't know about that, Joff. Do you plan on hitting the 405 in competition? Obviously, you have nothing to prove to the trolls, but it would be nice. UV, I plan on doing it at home first. Obviously, eventually on the platform. Yeah, Charles, and I have given numerous public apologies for that and told the backstory of why I did it, why it happened, why it was stupid, right? I've apologized many times at this point in public over many years. And I don't think people understand how long ago that was, because there are people who are like, well, it was just a few years ago. I'm like, no, dude, it's been 8 years. Did you encounter any chavs while you were in the UK, and do you have an equivalent in the US? Of course I encountered chavs. I was in the UK for 3 years. I mean, are you serious? Come on. I accidentally hit one with a barbell once. He walked into my rack while I was squatting and trying to re-rack it with 4 plates of per side on the bar. Do you use sunscreen when out in the brutal Texas sun? No, I don't. Thoughts on controlled negatives on conventional deadlifts? I used to not control. I mean, the amount that I controlled them is what I believe in. Wait, I heard drinking a small amount of alcohol per week increases performance and cardiac health. Is this true? No, it's absolutely not. The data shows that even small amounts of alcohol are bad for you. Okay. I don't have any views on Andrew Tate. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and wind this down then. We've gone about 40 minutes. So I hope it has been informative. And if not, at least entertaining for you guys and gals. I love all of you, and I will talk to you next time.